Hey, if I look like I'm completely out of it, it's a little bit because I kind of am. It's been a very long day. Today's day two of having two eyes, and it's been a real challenge. I've had to actually get some typing done today, and I've had to actually do work that involved typing and being able to read things. And the very first thing I've discovered is that when you've got two eyes, you have to focus on things, and that there's a range at which that's maximized. Um, in the past, I never failed that. How long can you look at the finger and only see one finger thing ever? And I mean, you could put it right against my forehead, I could still only see one finger. And I suspect that was probably a warning sign that we should have paid attention to earlier, but didn't. And now I've got two eyes, and I. Here's a great example. Okay, this is Shopco Nanoproxen, and I've never been able to read this label before. P10518X 0103. Um, I think that means it's expired. But I can I can actually read the bottle, even the blueprint on the blue. I have to use to do this, right, and then kind of get it right up here, but that doesn't do anything for me now. And when I do that, my head hurts and my eyes hurt. And I suspect what's happening is that my brain's getting used to having two eyes, and now I actually have to have two eyes. Some suggested go back to your old glasses. Well, I kept the frames. These are Stephen Colbert frames, very expensive, and I wanted to keep them, and so I just had them throw away the old lenses because I, I swear to God, I'd be puking everywhere if I put my old lenses on now, because I've been puking everywhere to get to where I am now. Um, but I think I have to learn how to read things now, and it's really bizarre to be able to look at a blue on blue text like this and read it. I'm not used to that. I mean, yeah, I couldn't read this before, but you wouldn't have to, because you could get the na, right, and a. Let's see if we can na. If you can see the na, yeah, I know this is flipped. Sorry. If you can see the na, then you know that it's probably the nanoproxen, and it's about the right length. And there's an X. I can always see the X. The X is great, big, bold X, right? So I know that it's nanoproxen. Now I actually read naproxen. It's not nanoproxen. It's naproxen. That's how you know how things are spelled, you tricky bastards, because you can actually read the letters. Ha 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 ha! I got your secret. But so I've started doing art again, which I'm not sure why, but suddenly I've just started doing art again, and the biggest problem I'm having is figuring out what the right distance is to be from something so I can focus on it. And that is really a huge, massive challenge, because I used to be able to just get as close as I needed to get to be able to see it clearly, and now there's an actual distance that maximizes that. And if I'm very different, if I'm off from that distance at all, then I can't read. And I know that people I've got progressives, which means they're not bifocals, they're not trifocals. They have a long range focus, and then my lenses change focus depending upon if I'm reading or driving or whatever. And people who've had progressives have said, gee, those are really hard to get used to. I feel sorry for you. And I've said, thank you. That, yeah, they're really difficult. And now I have some clue what you meant. I have to actually focus on things. And that's not a skill that there's a book for. I tried Googling it. There isn't a book that says, so you're a human. Congratulations. You're going to have to learn how to use your binaural vision to focus on objects, and here's tricks for that. And instead, I'm trying to saw something upstairs in the workshop, and I can focus on the object I'm sawing, or I can focus on the saw blade, or I can focus on the teeth of the saw, or I can focus on the dust, or the floor, or the cat that just came in. But I can't see them all at the same time. That's not a feature. That's not desirable. I mean, get God on the phone, I found a bug. So I can see with both eyes now, but I can't see as well as I used to be able to see with one eye. On the other hand, I can see amazingly better than I ever could see with one eye, and I'm able to see things that I've never seen before. Um, Tomorrow's conversation is most likely going to be about trees because there's something going on with trees. It's been kind of a secret. I wasn't aware that trees could do that, and it's yeah. So today's big challenge, focusing. How far away from something do I have to be able to actually see it? Which means that it matters where my monitor is. It matters where my keyboard is. It matters where things I'm reading are at relative to my face. I mean, just think about that. Up to today, I've never had to care where things were relative to my face when I read them. I mean, either I could read them or I couldn't, and generally speaking, I couldn't read them, so I could get as much from as I could get. And now I actually have to figure out what is that proper distance for reading text. And with my iPad, I haven't found that yet. It's not by my feet. It's not. Well, actually, if it's sitting on the floor over there, I can read it perfectly well. Wow. So, I've gotten some really nice emails from people who've had um, ear surgery where they stick stuff in your head to replace the neural, eerie, oral, heary thingies, and then all of a sudden you can hear for the first time in your life. And their comments have been very similar to some of the things I've been saying, such as, how do you survive where you hear? How can you live in a world where you see everything? Well, obviously you have to develop some sort of selective seeing and selective hearing where you simply don't hear everything, you don't see everything. And I feel that I'm starting to get that knack, but I can't tell if it's because I'm completely exhausted and I'm just getting a tunnel vision and my neurons are burning out. But I'm whew. So day 2 doing better, less angry at the universe, less driving though, so not so much exposure to all of the text that Americans have on their roads. Americans have a lot of text on their roads. When you drive north in Minneapolis, you've got these giant, massive signs the size of buildings. And then you go farther north along the North Shore, and the signs are fewer and fewer and fewer. And then you get into Canada, and the signs are about a third the size they are in America. And then you go along the North Shore up across Superior, and there's only like one sign every mile or every 10 miles, and it's this big. And that's kind of miss that. Um, yeah, I kind of miss that a lot. And but yeah, so where I'm sitting right now, much less text, although I do have instruments of doing things that all have text on them. And I'm still pretty much incapable of not parsing stuff when I look at it. It's so day 2, still happy to have both eyes. Still very honored and delighted to be able to have depth perception. But along with that depth perception comes the necessity of focusing your eyes on the objects that you're looking at, and in a very selective way. You can vary the thing you're focusing on, which is some sort of weird superpower I don't understand yet. I recognize that other people have it. I recognize that it's probably why, when I look at a table with things on it, um, some of the things are in focus and some of the things are not. In the past, it was a solid plane of things painted on top of table that really were a part of the table and they weren't separate from the table. And now it's things sitting on a surface, and and some of them are clearer than others. And as I approach it, there's this wave of things in focus that pass over the table where I have to parse all the objects on the table one at a time. as I'm walking up to it. So the house getting a lot cleaner. There's no more tables with piles of books on them. I can assure you that right now. That's stopped. That's gone away. The CDs are still over there, and that's part of why I keep going. Yeah, it's really helping with katakana and hiragana recognition. That's true. So, but that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow.